Okay, we're going to continue square root today, not square root, quadratic formula today, but we're going to consider some scenarios when we can simplify our answers. So before we use the quadratic formula, let's simplify our answers. Okay, so we sometimes get answers that look like this. In the case of this, it's 21 plus or minus a 12i over 3. This will simplify. Now there's two ways to think about this. One is you can divide this into 21 over 3 plus or minus 12i over 3. Okay, if you do that, you can see that 21 over 3 divides to 7 plus minus 12i divided by 3 makes it 4i. So that simplifies to 7 plus or minus 4i. Now, did I have to write it out like this? I did not. I could have done 21 divided by 3 is 7, 12i divided by 3 is 4i. Okay, but you can split it up if it's easier for you. Let's look at this one here. Okay, so if I do negative 6 divided by 2, I get negative 3 plus or minus. If I do 2i divided by 2, I get 1i, or just I. Okay, now when you do it, you do need to divide both of the terms if you do it in your head. If one divides and the other doesn't, you can leave it in this format, or you can make one non-fraction and one fraction. Okay, but we're going to keep going. So if I do 6 divided by 3, it goes down to 2. Okay, now if I have 3 root 7 divided by 3, the 3 and the 3, you can divide them or you can cancel them. And it goes to root 7. Okay, I'm going to rewrite this one too, because if it confuses you, you can always split it up. I could go 6 divided by 3 plus or minus 3 root 7 divided by 3. Then it's easier to see it. 6 divided by 3 is 2, and the 3 cancel. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Okay, negative 10 over 6. Oh, that doesn't divide. But I could simplify it. I could divide them both by 2. Now, if I divide these by 2, I need to also divide this by 2. Okay, so if I divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, that goes to negative 5 plus or minus 2 square root 7 divided by 3. Okay, now again, if it's too hard to do in your head, split it up and go like this. Okay, and then I could rewrite this as negative 5 over 3 plus or minus 2 root 7 over 3, which is just as good an answer as this. It's just written as two fractions. Okay, now what about D? Okay, 6 divided by 2 divides. Root 20 divided by 2 does not divide because this is irrational and this is rational. But can I simplify the square root of 20? That's the question. Yes. The square root of 20 is 4 times 5, which makes this 2 square root 5. Now it will divide. So I'll have 6 divided by 2 is 3. The 2 root 5 over 2 goes down to root 5. Let's do another one like that. Okay, this divides. This does not because this is irrational. So let's try to simplify it first. 99 is 9 times 11. So that's 3 square root 11 over 3. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. 3 root 11 divided by 3 is either root 11 or 1 root 11. Okay, and you do need to show this step to get to this step. Okay, now let's look at a couple that are rational. Okay, now if I do 6 plus or minus 10 divided by 2, I could split it up and add it up, but I'm going to have to add it anyway. So let's look at this and actually evaluate, because 6 plus 10, I can actually do 6 plus 10. If I do 6 plus 10, I get 16 over 2. 16 over 2 is 8. So one of my answers is 8. Okay, that was when I did the plus sign. Now if I do the minus sign, if I do 6 minus 10, I get negative 4 over 2. Negative 4 divided by 2, negative 2. So they're rational answers. If it's rational, you keep going. Let's look at the next one. Okay, negative 2 plus 4 is 2 over 3, which is a fraction. Okay, now if I do negative 2 minus 4, I get negative 6 divided by 3, which is negative 2. Okay, one more and then we'll actually get to the quadratic formula. Okay, I have square root of 25. I know the answer to square root of 25, so I'm going to keep going. So this is 1 plus or minus 5 divided by 6. Okay, if I do 1 plus 5 divided by 6, that's 6 divided by 6, which is 1. Okay, if I do 1 minus 5, I get negative 4 over 6, which doesn't divide, but I could simplify it by 2, which will give me negative 2/3. Okay, so now we're going to use quadratic formula again, but if you get to an answer that simplifies, you're going to stop and then think about how to simplify it. Okay, go ahead and put number 1 in standard form and then try to solve it, and then I'll unpause when you're ready to simplify. Okay, I put it in standard form. I applied this quadratic formula and I got negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 44. Now the square root of 44 is irrational, but I can simplify it. So let's simplify that to 4 times 11, so 2 square root of 11 divided by 2. Okay, now if I can divide this and this, I'm going to. If I couldn't, I would stop. Okay, negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. 2 root 11 divided by 2 is root 11. So negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 11 is my final answer, and it's a good answer. If you go back and look at this problem, if I had used complete the square, it would have been, I think, an easier problem, but I would have ended up with the same answer. Okay, go ahead and look at number 2, put it in standard form, try the quadratic formula, simplify it, check your answer. Okay, 2, standard form, x squared minus 4x plus 8 equals 0. Quadratic formula, 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 16 over 2. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and simplify. The square root of negative 16 is 4i, the whole thing divided by 2. If these both divide, I will divide it. If not, I will leave it as is. Okay, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 4i divided by 2 is 2i. So my final answer is 2 plus or minus 2i. Again, if you go back to my standard form, I could have done complete the square from there, and I would have gotten the same answer. Okay, go ahead and try 3, and then check your answer. Okay, now for number 3, I chose to minus the 7 to the left side. If I had been completing the square, I probably would have added the x squared and 4x to the right side to make it positive. If your answer is different than mine, then you have a negative here and you have a positive here, but it's going to be an equivalent answer in a second. Now let's go ahead and simplify our radical. It's imaginary. Square root of 12 is 4 times square root of 4 square root of 3, so it's 2i square root 3 divided by negative 2. Okay, 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. Okay, now if I do plus or minus 2i divided by negative 2, the 2's cancel. Now if I do plus divided by negative, I get a negative. If I do negative divided by negative, I get a positive. So I'm still going to have a plus or minus there. Maybe you might want to call it a minus plus, but it's the same and it doesn't change the result. Now if we did it differently, we should end up with this same final simplified answer. Okay, negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 904. Square root of 9 is 3 divided by 4. If I do negative 7 plus 3 divided by 4, negative 7 plus 3 is negative 4 divided by 4, which is negative 1. If I do negative 7 minus 3, I get negative 10 over 4, which simplifies to negative 5 over 2. Okay, for 5, I chose to make the x squared positive, so I minus the 2x squared, I plus the 2x, and I plus the 10. If you did the opposite of me, then you just have negative, negative, negative. And on this part over here, you have a positive and a negative here. But we're going to end up with the same answer. Okay, so let's see. Negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 36 is 6i. And I'm going to divide by 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Plus or minus 6i divided by 2 is 3i. And then remember, if you have 6i divided by negative 2, since there's a plus or minus there, the plus and minus don't matter because you're including both of them no matter what. Okay, a couple more. For number 6, I'm going to minus the 4x over, put it in standard form. And I'm going to apply my quadratic formula. We have number 6. I got 4 plus or minus the square root of 40 over 4. 40 is the irrational, square root of 40 is. So let's simplify it, and then I'm going to show you 2 ways to write the answer. So if your answer didn't match, don't panic. That's 4 times 10 to 2 square root 10 over 4. Now 4 divides by 4, but 2 does not divide by 4. So if I look at the 4, and the 2, they all divide by 2. So one way would be to divide them all by 2, which would give me 2 plus or minus the 2 cancels, okay, over 2. And that's a good answer. Now that's not the only answer though, because I could have also split it up and said, or I could do 4 over 4 plus or minus 2 root 10 over 4, which would give me 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then 2 over 4 is 1/2, so it'd be root 10 over 2. And that's also a correct answer. Okay, last one is also in standard form. Okay, so I got 1 plus or minus the square root of 49 over 4. The square root of 49 is 7 over 4. So 1 plus 7 is 8 divided by 4, which is 2. 1 minus 7 is negative 6 divided by 4, which simplifies to negative 3 over 2.